pound springs definitely are taking away some of my articulation and cushiness, but that was fun. Well, I'm excited to be in the shop today, and I'm very excited because Mighty Mouse is in here, but I'm most excited about what's in this box, because what's in this box is a long time coming. It's something special, something I probably should have gotten a long time ago, but we're getting it now, and that's Gen 3 long travel arms from Joe Kowinski. Now, if you guys are new to the channel and don't know, I've been running Joe's first generation A-arms since, well, pretty much since he came out with them, because I was the second person to ever buy them. So I've had these on here for a good many years. There's absolutely nothing wrong with them. They work great. So why am I upgrading to the Gen 3? Well, come on guys, tell me you can't see a big improvement in these. So yep, Joe's first gens have been great for me. I put a lot of miles on them, zero complaints. But obviously his Gen 3, several upgrades as he learned and as more people bought his kits and discovered there's some improvements to be made. First and foremost, obviously, is so you can see the lower A-arms are now arched, whereas the old ones are straight. So that gives you more usable ground clearance and enables you to clear obstacles just a touch better. The second reason, and I don't know if you're gonna be able to tell too much here on video, but if you see how much my front wheels are cambered in, that was just the nature of Joe's first generation arms. These are solid points back here, and so your camber angle ends up being what it is. And again, with these third generation arms, you have complete adjustability here with these heim joints that are threaded into your arms, so you can adjust, no matter how you have your suspension set up, dial in your camber angle to be just what you want it to be. And third, I don't have any rear A-arms open, but you see here how on the rear uppers, Joe mounted the shock mount kind of down. Well, on the third generation, he's taken these and turned them up to help fight rear end sag. That was a kind of an issue here with these first few kits as he rolled them out and quickly realized that the extra leverage, the extra width that the long travel A-arms gave, it took a lot heavier shock to keep the end from completely sagging down from all that extra leverage on it. And not only did you have to go with heavier springs, you can see how much of the preload, I'm at least halfway down on the preload I had to get to raise my back end up to fight the sag. But like I said, on the third gen, these are now turned up, and that's not so much of an issue, so I probably am gonna have to dial back my preloads here a little bit, or else I'm gonna be sticking way up in the air. And I've got 600-pound springs on here, which I don't think Walker Evans offers anymore. So I may actually be able to drop down to a lighter set of springs for a little bit better ride, but we'll tackle that when we come to it. But I think I'll go ahead and tackle the front first. This isn't going to be a step-by-step how-to, because this is basically unbolting the old and bolting the new in. I've already got it detailed how-to installing the this long travel kit. This would be pretty much the exact same, except for when the time comes, we gotta dial in and adjust all these angles and stuff, which I will cover that. But being as I'm a one-man cameraman today, we will cut to, I tell you what, I'm gonna get one side of the front installed so we can have a direct side-by-side comparison of new versus old. So let's cut right to that. Bam! Oh yeah, oh yeah. Them arms are a big improvement. Again, nothing wrong with Joe's Gen 1 arms. They were awesome for the time, but now that he's got these guys, I mean, these just fail in comparison. And before you guys start hounding in the comments, no, his first gen arms are not going to be for sale. I have plans for those arms for a future project, for something else I have in the works. So no sense bombing the comment section asking if they're going to be for sale because they're not. But anyway, now that we've got these roughly installed, what we have to do is work on adjusting these lower arms for our camber angle. Now, my floor is not level, so the buggy is not level. So I'm just gonna kind of do a down and dirty adjustment here to get them close, and then we'll see how they are after that. So what I'm gonna do is I have my angle finder here, and because we want our wheel to be pretty much straight with the buggy's frame, basically they're gonna be pretty much parallel for like a zero camber angle. And then as this travels up and down here, we want that to stay there. I'm just gonna put this on here. We have an angle of 89.7 roughly. And I'm just gonna put this on here, whoops, and adjust this till I get close to the same. So we're at 88 even. So I'm gonna go ahead and spin these. Oh, I don't have that in there, hold on. It's really hard to film and do all this stuff at the same time. Let me get this back in here where it goes. We are at 89.3, so that is pretty close. What I have back here, 89.7. Oh, come on. 89.7. 89.4. So that would give us just a slight camber. And let me go one more spin on each of these and see what that does. And I just took my paint marker and put a little dot here on the top of these so I can keep track of my spins. And count them right now. For Mighty Mouse, I'm at 5 turns out. This will make 6 turns out total if it gets us pretty close here. 89.9. 89.9. We're gonna call that good enough. So I think I ended up then being 6 turns out for Mighty Mouse. And now all we gotta do then is spin these lock bolts down and snug them up. Now one thing to note here, if you do order this kit, you will need to shim, because I mean Joe can only get these in the size he can get. And so you see there is here space and you got to make up, you are gonna have to get washers to make up the space. So be aware of that, come prepared with washers to fill that in. Again, that's what Joe can get. I mean, the sizes he can't have. If he were to have something custom made, then the price of his kit's gonna go way up. So just be prepared for that. Here's a nice little side-by-side comparison of the front arms. Here we have the first gen front uppers and the second gen front uppers. Not a whole lot has changed. He's gone from using a flat stock here on top to actually using a round tube inside. And it does look like the mounts are moved slightly forward a little bit. A little fancier design here on the ball joint plate than before, but you can definitely see how Joe's craftsmanship as a fabricator has improved. The lower A-arms is where the biggest difference comes in. Again, you can see here we're arched as opposed to just as straight, and he does put little bends in both these now. I guess the front's not, but in the lowers. A little extra clearance for the axles, I noticed that. And you can see here with this slight bend he gives in these, you got a lot more room now for clearing your axles. And again, a little fancier here on the plate for the ball joint. And the biggest difference is the adjustability now of the lowers compared to the fixed position of the uppers. So yep, there's a little side-by-side comparison between first gen and third gen. And correct me if I'm wrong about this, Joe, or someone that has a second generation kit. I believe the second gen was arched, but he didn't have the adjustability of these third gen. I think that's a big difference between the second gen and third gen. Look at that. I tell you what, that is a big difference And check out my camber angle. No longer are my wheels tucked in about like that. We've got her dialed in pretty close. Like I said, I'm about 6 turns out, and that put her pretty much perfect. So using my little angle finder like I did, got me right spot on, I'd say. Close enough, you can't tell by the naked eye anyway. I also used my full access UTV alignment. This is their universal one to align this puppy, get that dialed in. This puppy is a slick little tool if you guys ever get into doing a lot of alignments or your side-by-sides. Me having the shop now, I got this figuring I'm gonna be getting into a lot more of it. Now your typical average Joer probably don't need one of these. But if you guys wanna see a full video on how slick these work, let me know in the comments below and I'll show you. I didn't film it because it was the first time using it. I wanted to see how it worked first, but it's pretty slick. Basically, these just bolt on and place your wheels. It comes with 2 tape measures that will fit and hook in them notches so you don't have to hold on to them. And it makes dialing in your alignment very, very easy. So again, you want to see a full video on how these guys work, let me know in the comments below. But for now, I'm gonna just admire this for a couple more minutes here. And then jump into the back. Well, I am making excellent progress. I got one side here on the rear all done. I want to make sure I take a break to show you what I was talking about, the shock mounts. Here you can see on the first gen how Joe mounted them down here. And the reason was, I believe he's trying to keep the angle pretty much the exact same as stock. But again, with the added leverage, that really made the rear end sag whenever it would be lowered, and really had to go with a lot heavier springs. And you can see how much preload I have. Well, with these newer ones, you can see he's relocated the shock mounts up here. It's increased our angle, which should give us a better ride actually, because it's not traveling so much straight up and down. And I am betting now I'm going to have to back off some preload to get the same ride height, but we'll have to just wait and see on that till we get her all done up. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the other side. But man, is that looking good. guys ended up buying another one because I would have missed it so much.
Most likely, but it wouldn't have been the same one.
Wouldn't have been the same, would have been Mighty Mouse. Girls had their way, that would have had to been Project Minnie Mouse. Remember that's what they used to call it? Lonnie used to call this Minnie Mouse.
Yeah, she did. She did. And you did it quite a few times too.
Yeah, because of her I did it quite a few times as well. Well, I'd say these Gen 3 arms are definitely an awesome upgrade, not only in looks, but functionality. I love how much more usable ground clearance that gives. So I'm definitely glad I went with these guys. If you guys are still on the fence about ordering a long travel kit, don't be. Because if you got the money and you don't have 50-inch width restrictions, then Joe's long travel kit will completely transform not only the capability of your P5, but the comfort, the handling. It pretty much does it all and is well worth the money. A complete Gen 3 kit that comes with everything you need, including axles, tie rod extensions, extended brake lines, will run you about $2,800. And a kit without the axles, if you want to supply your own axles and go with Demon axles or something a little heavy duty, then that'll run you about $2,400. So now that we have this done, I know probably a lot of you guys are biting at bits for me to get back at the turbo, but I do want to enjoy these long travel arms a little bit before I have Mighty Mouse tore back apart for weeks on end as I revamp the turbo system. So we'll probably do a little bit of riding in this first. We'll get some updated riding footage, going over some obstacles and stuff with these updated long travel arms. And once we get some rides in, then we will once again get back into the turbo system, get it revamped. I'm going to add an oil cooler this time, and I think that alone is going to solve most of the problems. I was kind of wanting to tie into the engine oil. I think I still want to keep the oil for the turbo separate, at least for time being. And I think an oil cooler is going to definitely help keep that turbo cool, keep it happy, and keep it running much longer. So that's coming up. Again, if you want to get a hold of Joe Kowinski, about the only way you can get a hold of him is through the various Pioneer 500 Facebook groups. And so you got to be on Facebook. But other than that, I'm super excited to finally upgrade. All them Southern boys with their big built mud buggies has got the long travel arms, and I hadn't. So I was definitely due. So again, thanks for watching, guys. And until next time, keep on riding. I gotta come get my wife.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I did that just in case you rolled it.
Your vote of confidence is all inspiring, but excellent camera girl thinking. Just in case I roll, I better film.